Hey guys, welcome to FM Driving School. In today's video, we're going to show you how you can pass your driving test first time, a few top tips in how to pass after COVID. So as you know, because of COVID, maybe you haven't been able to drive for about a year or so, or even maybe you've booked a driving test in a completely different area because it's so hard to get a driving test. So how can we pass our driving test in these circumstances? First of all, don't forget to check our site, fmdrivingschool.co.uk. We've got so many links, so many tips, and so many articles in what exactly you'll be expected to do in your driving test as well as your theory test. So do go check it out, fmdrivingschool.co.uk. So how exactly can you pass after this hectic period that we had of COVID-19? What exactly can we do in order to better our chances to pass? One of the biggest problems our students are facing is A, they cannot book a driving test, the waiting list is too long, and B, the fear factor if you have got a driving test, it's that extra added pressure now that if you were to fail, maybe there's going to be another 4, even 5 months waiting. So this extra pressure is now adding on top when you go to the driving test, giving you that fear factor and maybe even affecting how you're going to drive. So first of all, let's tackle this fear factor. I know you guys are going in extremely anxious and worried that if you were to fail, there's another 5 months waiting list. The first thing is get that thought out of your head. Do not think about what if situation. If it happens, it happens. We go in positive mind, positive thinking. And how can you be positive? Prepare yourself for the driving test. Don't cut corners. If you're not ready, book extra lessons, practice as much as you can. If you're not confident, for example, with maneuvers, ask your instructor, let me practice some of the maneuvers. Plan, prepare, be confident, go in with a positive mindset, thinking that you're gonna pass. If you have this attitude, then you get that fear factor out of your head, and you go in with a little bit easier mindset when you're doing the driving test. So get that thought out of your head. We encourage our students, be positive. I mean, why have a test and you're negative about it? You're thinking you're gonna fail. If you're gonna fail, then if you think you're gonna fail, then practice. Go do the extra work. Go practice with your instructor, with your family members, whoever's got a car. If you're insured in it, go practice on it, because that will give you that confidence that you need. The next biggest problem that our students are facing is that they actually are unable to book a driving test in their locality. So, for example, if you live in Chertsey, maybe you booking a driving test in Chertsey is extremely difficult. So the only options are now to book your driving test out of the area, out of your comfort zone, out of an area that you've never been before, don't even know about, you just heard about it, maybe it's the closest one to you. We've got students that are actually booking it really far. You're looking at even like about 1.5 hours away, 2 hours away, just in order to book a driving test. So what do you think? Is it a good idea to book a driving test out of the area that you've never been? What do you guys think? Comment below, and we're going to give you our experiences with our students now, who have now booked tests out of the area that they've been practicing in. So obviously, as a driving instructor teaching for a long period of time, we always encourage our students to book the driving test in their locality, because you'll know the area, you know where you grow up, or even if you haven't grown up in that particular area, maybe it's your local one. So you can practice straight away on the driving routes, and you'll be familiarized with the roads. Obviously, we live in unprecedented circumstances where to book a driving test, you're looking at a 5 months waiting list. We had one of our students who couldn't even find a driving test in the locality. So obviously now the next option is to book it in an area that you never heard of. Now, one of the disadvantages of that is maybe that particular area can be extremely difficult. Take for example Greenford. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this area, if you've ever been there. If you just take a drive down there, you'll see there's a lot of hills, very steep, very difficult, extremely hilly ends. So it's not a simple case of, you know what, let me just book it anywhere. The area might be very difficult. Try to do your research, go on Google, try to see the area, try to see the pass rate in those particular areas. Maybe a certain test center has a higher pass rate compared to the one that you're thinking of. That's the first thing we'd advise you. So ask around, find out which area is a nice area to do your driving test in. For example, if you were to ask in West London, for example, if you had a choice between, say, Ashford and Greenford, any instructor probably would advise you, do you know what, Ashford's a little bit more open ends compared to Greenford, a bit more congested. So once you get these kind of information, you might make your mind up, do you know what, let me book a driving test in Ashford. But then at the same time, maybe you can't find a test in Ashford, so where else can we do it? Maybe you're stuck in Greenford. So now what do we do? So we booked a driving test anywhere that we could possibly find the closest one, the nearest one, and so we find it in Greenford. So what happens now in those situations? As an instructor, we will just say, you know what, it's cool. As I said, it's very hard to get a driving test. Let's go and practice in those areas. So that's the next step. It's best to go to the area now. Say you booked a driving test in Greenford, and you've got about 2 or 3 weeks maybe in order to practice. Ask your instructor, you know what, can I go to those ends and practice in those areas? If it's about, say, 45 minutes an hour away, you might have to book more than 2 hour lesson on the day in order to go to those area, practice in the area, then come back. We cannot stress how important it is to go to the area and practice in those ends, because the roads might be a bit different, the road markings might be different, the roundabouts might be different, box junctions might be more busy. You have to go and see it. And obviously, if your instructor doesn't teach in those areas, maybe the options are to ask your instructor, can I take a longer lesson in order to go to the area, or B, you call up a local instructor in that particular area. So if you're in Church, say you're in Staines, you live in Staines, go and travel to Greenford, take the tube, take the bus, the Uber, whatever it takes, go to the area, find an instructor in that area who then can practice their routes with you, can show you the area, can show you exactly where the test center is. Here's an example why when you're approaching a roundabout and you take the second exit, usually you'd be taught to stay on the left hand side. So look at this roundabout here, we're taking the second exit. Here's a 2 bus, 200 yards. So as we're approaching it, if you don't know the area, it'll be quite difficult in the sense that you have to make a decision in split seconds. So in this situation, correctly on the left lane. But as we carry on driving, these cars are now restricting your vision because they're on top of the arrows. And as you get closer, now you notice the left lane goes left only. And you have to suddenly or quite quickly move to this middle lane. And from the middle lane now, it should lead you back around towards this left lane to come off. Now, as you can see, firstly, you would assume to be on the left lane. Secondly, the cars were slightly blocking your vision, so you couldn't even see the arrows until late on. So not only do you have to now suddenly make a decision, you have to make it safely. So you have to make sure you check your mirrors, that you don't affect anyone. Now, had you come to this roundabout previously, maybe practice with your instructor or with whoever that you're learning to drive with, you would have probably been aware, hang on a minute, this particular roundabout, the lane split up, and so you'll be a bit more prepared for that situation. Here's a different area, and again we're coming across a big roundabout. We're taking the second exit. Naturally, you'd assume the left goes straight, but again in this situation, quite late, you see the road markers on the floor. The middle lane goes straight, so we have to make the decision slightly late. Now, as we get in from the middle lane, which is what we're in, we have to now move back across to slightly to the left of the 2 lanes in this situation. Again, a student might accidentally go to the far right lane mistakenly because they've never been to the area, they don't know exactly what to do. And as you can hear now, watch, the route might be you have to turn right. And if you did have to turn right, look how close the traffic light is. So now you have to move across 2 lanes in order to get into this far right lane. How can you be prepared for this situation? There's a few ways. You can either be slightly slower so that you can see if it's safe to move across, check your mirrors thoroughly, or to come to the area, see the area, notice that as you come off the roundabout there's this traffic light, so that actually, hang on a minute, if I am asked to turn right, I know that I need to move in quite quickly. So again, plan ahead, come to the area, see the area, and be well prepared for it. Those are a few tips in order to help you pass your driving test after COVID. We've also got videos on how to book a driving test quite quickly. So go to our channel, FM Driving School, where you can find out how exactly can you get a driving test within 2 weeks, within 3 weeks. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe, and check out fmdrivingschool.co.uk for all the latest tips.